Hey, today I'm going to show you how I produced Nora May's Let Go. Starts off with the keys. So the keys were simply a contact preset, and it was from a bank called Substance made by Output. It was number 288 called Dark Keys, and the progression was extremely simple. It was following 3 chords with a few variations throughout the entire track. The only difference about these chords versus maybe any other chord is that the velocity was turned up down here from 80, which is default, to 96, which doesn't do much, but it may add a little more heaviness to the keys or weightedness because they're being played a little bit harder. So that was the first lead into the track, and then over here you have the first kick. It was a way to introduce the drums without using any of the drums that actually come in. So it was just sort of a lead in. It was 4 on the floor, and it brought you into the bass, which is over here. The bass, I'll do a quick look for you, but the bass may have actually stayed the same the entire track. Yep, copy and pasted the entire thing, the entire track. Maybe a few breaks, like right here, nothing changed. And again, the only thing about the bass was that it was 96 velocity in Logic. So for the sound itself, we used double bass preset, which is modeled bass, double bass within Sculpture. Sculpture is an amazing VST that's within Logic, and it emulates real life sounds with their VST, so you get really great sounding and real sounding violins, basses, all these sounds, and they're electronic, but they emulate the waveforms of live instruments. So you should look through their preset bass if you have Logic, and it's really worth going through because their sounds are amazing. After that, there's a 4-bar break that leads right into the drums. So very simple drums, 80s sounding drums. We have the kick. It's a splice kick from a retro pack. We have a snare from the same pack. Some hats for groove, and the hats here use sidechain compression through a noise gate. So if you want to do sidechain compression through a noise gate on Logic, you switch it from a gate to a ducker, and you click this little top right button, and you bring down your sidechain, the audio that you want to sidechain it to. So in this instance, I wanted to use the drum kick 2, and then I set up my settings accordingly. If you listen to the kick in the hat's being ducked every time the kick is hit, and I find this is a good way to make hats, audio hats in particular, sound a lot more live and groovy. The next on the list is this hat. And it sounds sort of cheesy on its own, honestly, but when it comes together, it adds a bit more groove from this to that second part. It just helps the track continue to flow. After that hat, we have a perk. just some tiny little collab almost sounding audio, but that was it. That was copy and pasted, stays in the same spot the entire track. Just another percussive element to make the track a little more interesting, nothing too crazy. And then just a little electronic sounding percussive element again to continue making things groove and feel a little more 80s. That throughout the entire track follows the exact same pattern, except right here. The only thing that changes for the chorus is that we've added, I called it a synth chill, but it went through a lot of sound design. It was my vocals and I did some like sound and I pitched it, and I can't find the original version, but over multitudes of projects, over multiple projects, it came to the sound. So it was bounced and it was altered. Let's hear what it sounds like with no effects. It'll probably sound a little whack, honestly. Yeah, so that's my vocals, just off of the laptop, actually. So we added some Valhalla Vintage, excuse me, 100% wet, and the decay stays the same as the default. I didn't change anything on it, actually, so I just slapped on Valhalla. The thing that changes the sound was Sound Toys' little altar boy, excuse me. Pitch is 1 octave up, quantize is set, and mix is completely wet, no drive or anything. That's where you get your synth sounding vocal. Just some low cut, get rid of the lows. Some Echo Boy from Sound Toys. The Space Echo is my favorite preset, and it makes everything sound so dreamy. If you click A on Logic, the automation pops up, and what I did for this was I let the sound come out. Here, I'll turn off read. So I actually automated the mix of the echo so that it continues into the next piece of audio. So there was no empty space in the track. And then before the next one comes in, I completely turn it back to 0 so that you don't get any bleed or messiness when the next piece of audio is going to play that echo. Then the track continues on. The only thing that changed around here was there was a bit of automation, as you heard on the keys. Lush. That was a simple technique that I did. Okay, that's what I did for the verse. When it changed from the chorus to the verse, I wanted it to feel more like a verse. It didn't have the power of the chorus. So I turned on an EQ to take some highs away. And then when it comes back to the pre-chorus, I let the synth get loud and bright again. So a good way to signify what is happening and when. Just do something as simple as turning on a high cut, get rid of some highs to signify there's a verse here. And then when you want more power in the chorus, turn that thing back off and let those highs ride in for the chorus again. The pre-chorus here, or the bridge that leads into the final chorus, was a Synplant preset. And Synplant is probably one of the coolest VSTs you can use. You can click this middle button here, command click it, and you can randomize any preset. And it has a very organic, electric sounding feel. Like this sound right here, it's just warm on the mids and it sounds great. So this specific preset on Synplant was randomized, and all the other sounds through Synplant tend to be very warm and great for pad sounds. So I recommend looking in to Sonic Charge's Synplant. It's one of the coolest synths you could get around. That was the only thing that changed up during the track, as well as in the final chorus here. There's a different vocal chop at the end. And that I did make in another project, and I just bounced it out. That's why it sounds already affected. But it was so similar to this first one over here, the synth chill, where it was my vocals and I just affected it. Oh my goodness, I affected it and it sounded great. So I kept it in for the final verse, final chorus. So that's Let Go. At just a measly 14 stems, we made something. The vocals carried the track significantly. The production's here to sort of just help everything come together. But overall, the track was really chill to make, and I was really happy with the end result that Braden and I put on in the final track. So that was how Let Go was made, and we'll begin the next track tomorrow. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys soon.
You find me